Darling, you send me. I know you send me. This is
Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well during quarantine, and today for breakfast I decided to make these mini pancakes which I saw on TikTok, and I've never tried them before but I'm really excited, so let's go. So the recipe I was following said to use 128 grams of self-raising flour. There's also different styles of mini pancakes you can make, so you can make flat ones or like these chunky ones that I'm making. And to make these chunky ones you're going to need self-raising flour, but if not you can always use plain flour. So next I went ahead and got the caster sugar, and I use 1 tablespoon of it, but you can adjust it to however you like. I was so excited to make these because I've literally seen it all over TikTok and it just looks so good. So next I went ahead and I got 1 teaspoon of grounded cinnamon. If I do decide to make these again, which I probably will, I think next time I would put a bit more grounded cinnamon. If you use self-raising flour, this step is not really necessary, but because I wanted my mini pancakes to be extra chunky, I went ahead and added a teaspoon of baking powder and a pinch of salt. Then I added 2 tablespoon chunks of salted butter. So now the recipe said to go ahead and mix everything, and I decided to use a fork, but then it wasn't doing much, so I went ahead and I got a whizzer. And let's just say that wasn't a really good idea. The flour went everywhere, and instead I decided to just quit following the recipe and I kind of went my own way. So I went ahead and added a cup of milk and all the wet ingredients, so 2 tablespoons of oil, and then I went ahead and mixed it all up again. So this turned out so much better. If you're following this recipe, I recommend you put all the dry and wet ingredients together, not do what I did because the flour literally went everywhere. So then you should be left with this consistency mixture. And then what I did was I got these food and freezer bags and I just went ahead and decanted everything in, but things started to get really messy. It was just so frustrating. I think it would have been a lot easier and quicker if I had used a funnel, so if you guys are trying this out, I definitely recommend a funnel or like some sort of decanter, you know what I mean? I then went ahead with some scissors and I cut a hole. It was meant to be only 1, but I ended up cutting 2 because of the way the bag was shaped, and it made it quite hard to pour the mixture out into the circles. So I then went ahead and I decanted all of that mixture into another bag, and this time I cut 1 circle, and that was so much easier to cook, I guess. The first batch of pancakes I made turned out pretty bad, as you can see, because I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I realized you need to make sure you have plenty of oil because if not it'll get stuck to the pan. So if you're trying this out for the first time as well, don't worry if your first batch turns out pretty bad, because so did mine. But don't worry, they'll come together, and you know, the second batch I made turned out so good and really happy with them, and they looked so delicious. That is your mini pancakes done. They were so delicious and I highly recommend this recipe. So for lunch I decided to make some avocado toast. So first I went ahead and I cut the avocado into slices, and then I took a spoon and scooped it all out. I also decided to keep the pit because in a minute we're going to be making avocado tea. Then I went ahead and toasted some bread, and I put this garlic butter on mine. You can put anything, you can put butter or cheese cream cheese. Then I just went ahead and laid the avocado on top of the bread. And then I sprinkled some salt and a little bit of pepper. And lastly I put a bit of smoked paprika on top, and it makes it taste so good and gives that extra kick. That's lunch ready! Now time for the avocado tea! So I did some research and I found out that avocado tea is actually really good for you. It helps with so many things, and it's also a really good way of getting good use out of the pip. So first you're going to want to wash your avocado and dry it. And ideally you're going to want to leave it for like a few weeks so it dries out and looks like this. Once the skin is able to peel off like this, you know it's ready to use. Then we're going to go ahead and grate it using the smaller side of the grater, and you'll find that it starts to oxidize and change color, so it goes from like being this cream to like an orangey color. That's absolutely normal. The best results, you're going to want to leave it for a few days to dry out so it's not moist. And also if you want thinner pieces, you can go ahead and use a blender so it looks like this. And then we're going to go ahead and boil some water and add 1 tablespoon of the avocado seed and let it boil for like 5 minutes. Then using a drainer, we're going to go ahead and decant the tea into a cup. And that's your avocado tea done. So for dinner, we're making burgers, and I didn't really film much of the dinner part, mainly just the salad because I kind of forgot, but I made some fries using sweet potato and some sauces, and also some stuff from the garden which we grew. So here I'm just cutting some pak choy leaves. And a few courgettes. I had to be careful because the sides of the plants are spiky, but I managed to get one. And then of course you're going to want to make sure you wash everything nicely to make sure that there's nothing in there. You never know, you know what I mean. And then I went ahead and chopped everything up and put it in the bowl, and I used the salad dressing from M&S. And that is dinner ready! Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you do decide to try any of these things out, comment down below, I'd love to know. And stay tuned for next week's video, which is how to make an outro. See you next week!